subscribe, hit that notification button. Don't forget to share this video with your fellow veterans.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome. My name is Dwayne Kimball, owner and founder of KMD 89 of VA Claims Consulting, United States Army veteran, and retired VA rating specialist. I am my co-host tonight is DJ. Welcome back, DJ. Everybody, give DJ a round of applause in the comment section. Has some audio issues going on. Make sure you give me a thumbs up if you can hear me. There we go. Get those likes up. So Chris B, just give us a thumbs up. Make sure you can hear us. So DJ will be giving a presentation tonight. Hey DJ, how we doing? Happy New Year.
Hey, happy 2023 to everybody. Hope you all are healthy and in good spirits.
Okay, DJ. I don't know if you can hear me. You kind of, I can see you.
Can't hear that, huh?
We were trying to get this worked out. Everyone, DJ, go down to the settings and then audio. Make sure you got your thing set up. Okay, Ms. Williams, thank you. Okay, so they can hear me, DJ. So if you go to settings, click on audio, and then the mic, it should be the headset that you're wearing.
Yeah, it was checked. Can you hear me?
Okay, so they say they can hear you, DJ, but I
Okay.
can't. Huh. Okay.
Wow.
All right, so we'll try and make this work. Let me make sure my audio is not messed up. All right. Okay, can everybody still hear me, DJ? You there?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Okay, but I can't hear you. Okay. All right, so check it out. So they say they can hear both of us, so I can't hear DJ, so we're just going to have to, we're going to have to but DJ, thanks again for joining in. I know it's been a while since everyone has seen DJ. I think the last one that we did was, probably almost a year ago. It was the CMP one.
Oh, yeah.
Was that it? I think, DJ, where we did the mock CMP exam?
I think so. This sounds about right.
Okay. All right. So without any further ado, we're going to be going over, DJ is going to do a presentation on the Pact Act. I'm going to be looking at some of the questions and probably follow up with a live Q&A for the Pact Act for tonight with the roundtable. The third Thursday this month. The event is not live yet, but we will be taking some questions from the comment section, but we may not get to everybody's questions. So that's why I want to do it another live Zoom during my veterans roundtable the third Thursday of this month. Okay, so DJ, I'm gonna go ahead and add the presentation. There we go, and I'll turn it over to you, sir.
Okay, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Today we're going to be talking about understanding the Pact Act, and all this information is directly from va.gov. So the Pact Act and your VA benefits. The Pact Act is a new law that expands VA health care and benefits for veterans exposed to burn pits and other toxic substances. This law helps us provide generations of veterans and their survivors with the care and benefits they've earned and deserve. Directly from the VA. There's a link at the bottom if you want to find that resource. But what's the Pact Act and how will it affect my VA benefits and care? Likely the largest health care and benefits expansion in VA history. The name of the law is the Sergeant First Class Heath Robinson Honoring Our Promise to Address Comprehensive Toxics Act. That's the Pact Act in long form. It expands and extends eligibility for VA health care for veterans in toxic exposure and veterans of the Vietnam, Gulf War, and the post 9/11 eras. It adds more than 20 new presumptive conditions for burn pits and other toxic exposures, adds more presumptive exposures, locations for Agent Orange, and radiation. It requires VA to provide a toxic exposure screen to every veteran enrolled in VA healthcare. What does it mean to have a presumptive condition for toxic exposure? Now, we outline some of the highlights. To get a VA disability rating, your disability must connect to your military service. For many health conditions, you need to prove that your service caused your condition. But for some conditions, VA automatically assumes or presumes, presumptive, that your service caused your condition. These are called presumptive conditions. A condition is considered presumptive when it is established by law or regulation. If you have a presumptive condition, you don't need to prove that your service caused the condition. You only need to meet the service requirements for the presumptive. Gulf War era and post 9/11 veteran eligibility. There's 20 plus burn pit and other toxic exposure presumptive conditions based on the Pact Act that have been added to this legislation. So we've already had these conditions before, not the current ones, but we've already had conditions identified as presumptive. They've added these new conditions and expanded the benefits to Gulf War as well as post 9/11 era veterans. So these cancers are now presumptive, all the way from brain cancer to respiratory cancer of any type. Those are breathing related cancers. These are also now presumptive. Asthma that was diagnosed after service, chronic rhinitis, sinusitis, pleuritis, all the way to sarcoidosis.
Hey, DJ, can you hear me
Yes,
now?
yes, I can hear you.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. I don't know what's up with my audio. A quick question though. When a lot of people, I hear a lot of people say Raiders, they're looking for this or Raiders looking for that. And both of you and I rated for years, adjudicated hundreds of claims. And I'm pretty sure you rated some Gulf War Agent Orange presumptives. What is, for example, if I was claiming asthma is on the under the Gulf War presumptive list now. So if I'm a veteran and I write in and say I'm claiming asthma due to the Pact Act, what are maybe the top 5 things that you would start to look for?
Well, we're getting ahead of the game. We're going to explain some of that
Okay,
here.
okay,
But I mean,
okay,
if you want to, we can go through it or we can come back to that after.
okay. When we get to it,
Okay.
I'll let you talk about it then.
Okay. Good, good, good. So locations and time periods for exposure to burn pits and other toxins. So that's the presumption of exposure. On or after September 11, 2001, in any of these locations. So you got Afghanistan, Djibouti, Egypt, Jordan, Lebanon, Syria, Uzbekistan, Yemen, and the airspace above the locations. So for all those folks that are flying AWACS, etc. On these locations and time periods on or after August 2nd, 1990, Bahrain, Iraq, Kuwait, Oman, Qatar, Saudi Arabia, Somalia, Syria, Uzbekistan, and Yemen, as well as the UAE, United Arab Emirates, and the airspace above these locations. So the Pact Act also, it expands healthcare. It expands healthcare. So not only have you had to previously been a veteran that has disabilities and approved for VA healthcare, now free VA healthcare for post 9/11 combat vets. So if you meet the requirements listed below, you can get free VA healthcare for any condition related to your service for up to 10 years from the date of your most recent discharge or separation. You can also enroll at any time period during this period and get any care you need, but you may owe some sort of copay. At least one of these must be true of your active duty service. You served in a theater of combat operations during a period of war after the Persian Gulf War, or you served in combat against a hostile force during a period of hostilities after November 11th, 1998. And this must be true for you. You were discharged or released on or after October 1st, 2013. If discharged or released on or after October 1st, 2013, you can receive care and enroll during a special enrollment period. Now, that period is between October 1st, 2022 and October 1st, 2023. You have to have at least one of these, must be true of your active duty service. You see the first in green. You served in a theater of combat operations during a period of war after the Persian Gulf, as we just discussed, and the period after November 11, 1998, combat. And both of these must be true. You were discharged or released between September 11, 2001 and October 1st, 2013, and you haven't enrolled in VA healthcare before. Now, Vietnam era eligibility. Based on the Pact Act, VA has added 2 Agent Orange presumptive conditions. High blood pressure, also called hypertension, monoclonal gammopathy of undetermined significance. Doctors just call it MGUS. And there's also 5 new locations in the U.S. or Royal Thai military base in Thailand from January 9, 1962 to June 30th, 1976. Laos from December 1st, 1965 through September 30th, 1969. Cambodia at Memon or Krek Kampong Cham province from April 16, 1969 through April 30th, 1969. Guam or American Samoa, or in the territorial waters off of Guam in American Samoa from January 9th, 1962 through July 31st, 1980. And Johnson Atoll or on a ship that called from the period of January 1st, 1972 through September 30th, 1977. The 3 new response efforts to the presumptive location list, the cleanup of, I'm always getting the name messed up.
Iwanatak.
There you go. Atoll. Iwanatak Atoll from January 1st, 1977 through December 31st, 1980. And the cleanup of the Air Force B-52 bomber carrying nuclear weapons off of the coast of Palomares, Spain from January 17, 1966 through March 31st, 1967. In response to the fire aboard an Air Force B-52 bomber carrying nuclear weapons near Thule Air Force Base in Greenland. And the operation hours January 21st, 1968, September 25th, 1968. So this is, I believe, one part of your question, Dwayne, about are you eligible? So this is when these next slides should answer that question. If not, we go more into it. Are you eligible? If you served on active duty in any of these locations during these time periods, you are now eligible to apply for VA health care. The Republic of Vietnam, Thailand, at any U.S. or Royal Thai base. Now I'm just hitting the highlights, and you can see the dates that are associated with that. Laos, certain provinces in Cambodia, Guam or American Samoa, and Johnston Atoll. How to submit a claim, pretty straightforward here. If you don't know it, this is it. Freeze the slide, and there's a hyperlink. You can contact us, go to some of our YouTubes, and Dwayne has explained that many times over. Also, if previously denied your disability claim in the past, you can resubmit. So you can submit a supplemental claim.
But right quick, DJ.
Yes.
Supplemental claims, I want to point out you need new and relevant evidence with that 0995. New evidence is evidence that was not part of the claim when it was adjudicated, and relevant is relevant to that condition. It's not, they didn't review this or they didn't review that. If it's in the evidence section of that rating decision that denied it, they're saying that they reviewed it. Okay, just because you didn't get service connected, don't say, hey, they must have didn't review it. All right, so
right.
You need new and relevant evidence. All right, DJ, sorry to interrupt.
No, that's on point. Now, what if you have a claim pending and it falls within this criteria? The VA says you don't have to do anything. If you have a claim pending, they will look at it as to see if it meets the presumptive criteria or you meet any other criteria cited by the Pact Act. They've had extensive training up to date, so it's all part of the roll-in of the Pact Act. If you're one of those people that I have to ensure that they look at this, I mean, you could simply submit a 4138 VA form 4138. It's a general in nature, just asking, please consider my conditions for the Pact Act. I mean, that's something simple that you could do. But according to the VA, it is not necessary because they're going to look at these conditions. Now, there's information for survivors. If you are a surviving family member of a veteran, you may be eligible for these benefits: a monthly VA dependency and indemnity compensation, that's VA DIC payment, a one-time accrued benefits payment, a survivor's pension as well. And all of these, you must meet certain criteria. So you may qualify for the DIC if you're a surviving spouse, dependent child, or parent of a veteran who died from a service-related, service-connected disability. You may qualify if you are the surviving spouse, dependent child, or dependent parent of a veteran who we owed, that's the VA, owed unpaid benefits at the time of their death. So that would be the one-time accrued benefits. And survivor's pension, you may qualify if you're the surviving spouse or child of a veteran with wartime service. You can resubmit an application for VA dependency, that's the VA DIC, if you previously denied and you know that you are now eligible under the Pact Act. Other survival benefits include burial benefits and memorial items, a burial allowance, education and training, health care through CHAMP VA, a VA-backed home loan, which is excellent right now because no money down in most cases. And there's a hyperlink if you require more information. So submitting a Pact Act claim in summary, you need a current diagnosis. So if you were submitting a claim like Dwayne asked earlier, you would have to have a current diagnosis, right? You need to meet the eligibility requirements. And so the eligibility requirements are that location and time period. Also, clarify how you are claiming your disability. If you're claiming it due to burn pit exposure, respiratory disease, secondary or not secondary, but respiratory disease caused by burn pit exposure. And then file your claim and add the evidence as needed. So for your question, Wayne, was that any of the
Yeah.
answers of that
So
question? If
right.
not, we can
So
go back
right.
into it.
So yeah. Some of the when I used to do when I used to I hear a lot of vets. They'll say, "Oh, a Raider wants to see this. A Raider wants to see that." I have yet for anybody to explain to me what I wanted to see when I used to rate. They'll
Right.
say, "Well, Raiders want to see," and I'm like, "No, I wasn't looking for that." But I can remember when I adjudicated Gulf War claims, if the veteran was claiming chronic fatigue, under presumptives, or COPD, I knew exactly what I was looking for. Does
Right.
he or she have a diagnosis? And then where were they in that one of those locations?
Right.
If they did, then I'm granting the C&P exam. Did you look for some of the same things or maybe something different?
Oh, definitely, definitely. And more personally for myself, when I exited the service, I didn't have that exam, and it was current. I mean, it was already established by the VA. So what I had to do was I had to go to the VA and request that exam. But presumptive conditions, always looking for presumptive conditions, especially like with Agent Orange. So as the Pact Act rolls out, the VA is gearing up all training. So everyone should be trained, so they're familiar with key terms and key diagnoses, especially like Agent Orange. We would look for ischemic heart disease, hypertension, stuff like that. And now you got lymphoma and all these other conditions been added. Location and time period, like Afghanistan, Yemen, Vietnam, Guam, certain things like that. And then you definitely will have to acknowledge how or explain how you received that disability. Was it exposure to burn pit? Was it airborne toxins? So things of that nature.
Right. Okay.
But definitely, we were definitely familiar with the presumptive conditions as well as the diseases that correlated to that time period.
Yeah.
The
So yeah,
location and time.
right. I just, man, I hear that all the time. Raiders want to see this. Raiders want to see that. And I'm like, well, explain to me, because I'm like, I want you to tell me what I was looking for when I was adjudicating claims. I still haven't found anyone that can do that. But I was trying to get through these claims really fast to get the veteran onto the C&P exam.
Right.
What do you if you had one of those diagnoses, you got it, progress note, diagnosis of asthma, whatever, the location, once that's verified, on to the exam so they could do the PFT test or whatever, they need to do at that C&P exam, comes back and I rate the claim, and that's it. I think a lot of veterans think that they need a mound of evidence,
No.
and you don't.
Right.
It's we had this conversation last week where someone was like, "Oh, my friend, my buddy, they had this." Every claim is different, and so I think there's a huge misconception out there that you need a stack of paperwork when you submit your claim.
Right. You're absolutely right, and it's not. I just put it up. I'll give you the definition straight from the VA. Presumptive diseases or conditions subject to presumptive service connection will be considered to have been incurred in or aggravated by service if manifested to a compensable level when required by the corresponding regulation or statute within the time frame specified for that certain disease under the regulation or statute, even if there's no evidence of such disease during service. So they presume you have it if you were in that location during that time period. That is the easiest.
Presumptive, right? That's presumptive.
That's the easiest as it gets. Yes.
Right. Okay. Was that the last slide, DJ, or what else we had?
So had also some good info.
Okay.
For you. The Pact Act authorizes 31 new medical facilities across the country, and that's in order to boost better access to VA healthcare. There's also registries that folks may want to participate in, like burn pit registry, airborne hazard registry. Now, it's all voluntary. There's nothing mandatory at this particular time. What the VA does is they use those statistics and those points for improving their processes. So again, that's registry. The registry, there's plenty of them. So the two that we're just mentioning, burn pit and airborne. If you want more information on the Pact Act, go direct to the source, va.gov/PACT, PACT.
And actually, I did a video. You can go to my channel, and I did a video a few months back about the Pact Act. Now, keep in mind, we're only here for an hour, maybe go over a little bit, but this is just a small snapshot. We could do a 3-hour presentation on this, okay? But we're not going to be on YouTube for 3 hours explaining this. You, the vet, still have to take some ownership and go out there and continue to do that research, okay? This is just giving you a small snapshot and saying, okay, I was here, I have this condition, this is how I can claim it, and then go on from there.
Oh, yes.
Let me know, DJ, when you're ready and we get in. I got a bunch of questions up here, and I can put those up on the screen whenever you're ready.
Okay. Lost the video on you.
Say again.
I have the audio and I have the PowerPoint up, but your video went out.
Oh, okay. I'm still here though.
Yeah. Okay. But if you will talk me through it.
Oh, you can't see the presentation?
I can see the presentation, but I can't see the
okay, let me
well, that went.
Okay, hold on. Okay, hold on. Let me try something here.
I'll get back in there. Let me see.
Can you see the question is up there now?
There we go. Okay.
Okay.
Yes. Thanks for your time and all the information you provide. I'd like to know why there are no SMCs provided under the Pact Act. That's a good question. There could be later, but all this information that we're going over right now is directly from the VA. I'm no longer inside those doors, so I get that information secondhand from the source, though. But as of now, I haven't seen anything about SMCs just yet. Have you, Dwayne?
No, and I don't think it probably would because the criteria for the SMCs. When you look at SMCS, housebound, you have to have one disability at 100%. And that disability could be, let's just say, asthma, which is under the Pact Act. And then you have other conditions totaling 60% or more. Then you meet that particular criteria. But that's a good question though. But I don't think that it would be kind of hard to kind of put that under the Pact Act just based off the criteria. Now you could probably have some conditions that your service connected for that fall under the Pact Act that could meet some of that criteria for some of those SMCs. All right, let's move on to the next one. All right, I'll let you knock that out, DJ.
I was done last year.
I was not ANA last year, but I was approved for caregiver for the same. Should I use the caregiver information to good?
Well, you have to see why it was denied as well.
Yeah, and keep in mind that's an SMC, and all SMCs, the conditions have to be service connected. So DJ is right. Why did they deny your ANA? Do you know the criteria for ANA? Do you meet that criteria? On the 2680, was the form completed correctly? We give classes on those. We give one-on-one Q&As, and we go over that 2680. And one of the questions on that 2680 that a lot of individuals miss, it says, is the veteran in need of nursing home care? If the veteran is at home, they'll say no. It could be yes if you have a caregiver doing the same thing that the individual at the nursing home would be doing. You could check yes and then explain that. So I've done several one-on-ones of, doing a John Doe 2680 for SMCL, aid in attendance, and going over those questions so the veteran has a better understanding. So when you sit down and talking with your doctor, you can explain that stuff. Okay. But that's one of the services we provide. Private Q&A, we go through that. All right. All right. We got Traveling Terry, another great opportunity to learn more about the VA claims process. Let's see. Yeah, he's a big, huge supporter. If there is some hearing loss, and at my CMP exam, it was diagnosed, but I went for tinnitus and I was denied, could you claim major depressive disorder from the hearing, even if it's mild? The answer is yes. The doctor is going to have to provide an opinion.
Right.
Is depression secondary hearing loss? I've seen veterans depression secondary to tinnitus, but everybody's claim is different.
Yeah. The key to that is the diagnosis and the nexus. So how you link your current disability, which will be depression, to hearing loss or tinnitus.
Yep. All right. Let's see what else we got. Thanks for Tallahassee, Florida. I went from 30 to 80% with their help. All right. Is that just from watching the YouTube videos? I get that a lot. My question is, should I claim secondary claim or TDIU since I already have SSDI? Okay. So keep in mind, everyone, exactly what we do. We only educate veterans on the claims process. We don't advise you on what you should do other than you should get educated, right? This is your claim. Okay, so when you say, my question, should I claim secondary claim? That's your option as a veteran. But do you know how to reasonably articulate that symptomology? Your service connected for the right knee, but now you have pain in your left knee, claiming it's secondary. Okay, you have to explain that to the doctor. And if you're doing the TDIU, you got to be educated on what are the requirements for TDIU. Okay, TDIU is not a standalone claim. It is a claim for increase for service-connected conditions that you're stating that which you cannot obtain gainful employment on that 8940. Okay. I already have SSDI. I interviewed a person. She came on and she talked about, does VA compensation, can it have an impact on SSDI? So I would recommend you go check out that particular video. You got anything to add on that, DJ?
No, that was good.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, I know sometimes people think, okay, SSDI, TDIU, you know, different criteria. Just because you have one doesn't necessarily mean you'll have the other. That's all I want to add.
Right, right. Robert says, I'm located in Memphis, Tennessee. I'm wondering if hypothyroidism can be somehow connected as a presumptive condition under the Pact Act. You want to take that one, DJ?
Yeah, it has to meet the criteria that's already laid out. There's already presumptive conditions that are listed. So just look at those presumptive conditions. And there may be something that, I don't know, that will be the medical expert side that can speak to why you're having that thyroid problem.
Good. And keep in mind, as a rater, if I was rating a claim right now and the VA updated the presumptive list, when you claim that condition under the Pact Act, I'm going to go look on that list and see if it's on that list. If it's not on that list, denied. Now, then I would go to your service treatment records to see if there's treatment or diagnosis in service. Right. If it's neither, so DJ just went over the conditions. They have to be on that list. They have to be on that list. Now, do I think there's some conditions out there that, especially Agent Orange may have caused, but I'm not a medical professional. But if it's not on that list, then as a rater, they cannot grant that, even though you may have a private doctor saying, oh, yeah, this was due to Agent Orange. If it's not on the VA's list, you're not going to get it. Okay, so whatever condition, you have to look at that presumptive, Agent Orange, Gulf War, whatever, to see if it's on that list. A lot of veterans say, oh, I claim the back condition due to contaminated water. I can tell y'all, now that it's not on that list. There's only about eight, 9 conditions that's on that list. Okay. All right. Chris B says, get those likes up. Yeah, we got 142 people. Man, I think that's a record. I don't think I've ever had that many on here. All right. Okay. Here you go, DJ. Good to see you. All right. So we're going to get
Chris B.
both of these. Okay. Good evening. Good evening to you, sir. Jane, how we doing? Welcome. Thanks for joining in, Jane. I do see all the questions. We're going to try to get to some of those. Okay. Okay. So we got us loud and clear. We got Happy New Year. We got Carlos from Puerto Rico. Welcome back, all Carlos.
Right, Carlos.
Okay. Okay. Robert, hey, thanks for that super sticker, Robert. Thanks for the support. I know I saw you here last month. Definitely appreciate it. This gentleman said, wing it. Okay, we were definitely doing that. We were definitely doing that at the beginning. Okay, here we go. Why are they doing CMP exams with Pact Act conditions? Hey, good question. You want to take that one, DJ?
I'm not totally sure why a particular person is doing the CMP exam for a Pact Act condition. Let's say they may not be trained. Could be one with the Pact Act rolling out. If you're talking about you have one of those conditions, let's say lymphoma. You have lymphoma, you meet all the criteria. I don't know why they would do that unless they're trying to figure out.
They got to figure out those residuals. So it's like
right.
COPD, they got to do a PFT test.
Right, yep.
Yeah. So when they do those exams, on those DBQs, it'll determine if you should be 0, 10, 20, 30, 40 percent or whatever. So sometimes I've seen, I was able to grant stuff without the exam, like at 0%, but that's really a disservice to the veteran because if you go to the exam, if there's enough evidence, I could be granting 50 or 60.
Right.
Okay.
And that's exactly what I was going to lean to, because sometimes you can give a veteran, let's see, 10 or 30% just because they meet the criteria. They have all the evidence of record, so you can give them money, her or him or
Yeah.
they, whatever. You can give them money up front and then defer it for more information like residuals,
Right.
and then that
Right.
way you can boost it up.
Right. Okay. We got Marvin. Hey, how you doing, Marvin? Thanks for the support. I think I answered the question for yours, Marvin, either on YouTube, but I see you up in Milwaukee. So I got a question for DJ that it put a smile on Mr. Jenkins' face. What was the temperature here yesterday? He's up in Milwaukee. What was the temperature here yesterday and today?
Man,
What, about 80
hey,
degrees? I know they
oh
probably
yeah,
negative.
it was hot. It was hot. I know right now it's 74, so
Okay,
it's
and it's what, 7:30 at
7:35
night?
at night. So
Yeah,
I don't want to rub it in, but
yeah, I had to do that. But yeah, Mr. Jenkins. Who else we got? Amy. She's up in Milwaukee. I got a nephew. He's a Milwaukee firefighter. Yeah. Okay. All right. When will the VA start making decisions on Pact Act claims deferred already in the claims process? From what I hear, they're already making some claims, but those are priority. I know they was making some last year. Priority if the vet was like terminal or something like that. They were deciding those claims. Have you heard anything different, DJ?
yes, I just had it. Hold on, let me I'll put it on the screen. Let me see if I can get it. Okay, so right now they have the deferral reasons Pact Act, and that just means awaiting implementation of the Pact Act legislation. So now it's being implemented, so those decisions should start rolling out, as individuals have been trained. But in the system, they have the referral Pact Act awaiting implementation of the Pact Act legislation. So that speaks to maybe if you had a claim that was deferred and you're just waiting. So they were just waiting on the legislation to pass. Now they can start making the decision. And each decision time frame is dependent on location, manpower, and things of that nature.
Yep. Yep. I get to ask that a lot. How long does it take for a claim? Some people say, "Oh, mine was done in a week." I think the fastest I rated a claim from the time the veteran submitted the claim to finish was 2 hours. And I don't know if you remember the FDC pilot program. I was part of that, where veterans could bring their 526EZ, their claim, their DBQ, and we could submit the claim. And I remember, leaving the office early that day, going back to the regional office, and I told the VSR, I said, "Hey, go ahead and assess this in." And before I leave the day, the veteran had a DBQ. I reviewed the DBQ. It was actionable and sufficient. So a lot of people that leave comments and say, "Hey, only Raiders know what makes a DBQ actionable and sufficient." Guess what? DJ and I are retired Raiders. So we looked at hundreds, if not thousands, of DBQs and nexus statements, and I rated it that same day. Now, that's that's the only time I did that. Sometimes maybe get it done in a week, depending on if everything fell right. But like DJ said, manpower, people on vacation, the mission has shifted or something like that. All right. So we got another question here. Harry Camp Lejeune, veteran, 77 to 88, diagnosed with kidney cancer last year. 21, kidney removed, presumptive nexus for sleep apnea. I would question, I think kidney cancer is on the Camp Lejeune, what is that, 38 CFR 3.317, I believe. I think it's on that list. So you got a diagnosis, you got to do 30 consecutive or non-consecutive days at Camp Lejeune. I want to say, yeah, you're in that time period. No, yeah, I think he's within that time period. So since you had your kidney removed, then they probably, if the cancer is not active, they're going to rate off the residuals for that. So you have to go to the diagnostic code criteria to see, what the criteria is. Hey, we got 154 people in here. Definitely appreciate the support. go ahead. Somebody let me know. Chris B, let me know how many likes we got. I always point somebody out. So Chris B, you are the person. You are the thumbs up person to let me know how many likes we got. We got 153 people. So let's go ahead and get those likes up. Definitely thanks for the support to the channel. Okay, B Foster, Army coming at you. All right, cool. The message, I tried twice since 2015 to retrieve my active duty medical records. What should I do now?
Tried twice in 2015. Have you received any reply? Was it records unavailable, or you just haven't received anything? Because if you submitted for a FOIA request and haven't received anything, now there's an issue. So
Right.
we have YouTube videos that go over that, but it's a simple FOIA request, and especially if you do it online, or if you submit it, just keep copies of it as evidence, and then you just escalate it. And Dwayne is a stickler about having the ability to use that White House hotline.
I was just about to say that.
I know you're gonna hit him with it,
but
it works. It does work. So it does work.
And what I was going to add to that? So yeah, have you already submitted, especially the response? But you all see that file right there, and I put it there for a reason. That's my claims file. I created that myself, but I do have it on CD. Everything that you submit to the VA and everything that the VA send you, why don't you have a copy of that? And I'm not just talking about the messenger, anybody, okay?
Yep.
Tim says, there it is. Tim says, high bar to reach for these chronic conditions. Tim, I don't think this is a high bar. It's pretty much straightforward. If you have an actual diagnosis, especially like I think it was Larry said he had kidney cancer. I'm pretty sure he has a progress report showing that diagnosis. Now you go to Camp Lejeune contaminated water criteria. Was he there more than 30 days? Non-consecutive or consecutively? It's on the list. That's it. Then educate yourself on the diagnostic code criteria. Okay, Bamboo, hello. Back in 2008, during my back CMP, I complained of pain shooting down my legs. It was noted in the decision letter, but not addressed. I recently received 20% for each leg, sciatic. Was this a pending unadjudicated claim? And in 2008, effective date possible? The question I have: do you have a copy of that CMP exam from 2008? One, does it show a diagnosis of radiculopathy? Is the radiculopathy section completed? If it is, a lot of people think, oh, high level review. That's already expired. But guess what does not expire? That's CUE. Okay. And guess what? Did a video on CUEs as well.
Clear and unmistakable error.
There it is.
Yeah.
There it is. Okay. So Harry, sleep apnea, fatty liver, and prostate cancer. Can I secondary to my kidney cancer from Lejeune contamination? Want to take that one, DJ?
Secondary. Can I secondary? So are you saying, can you claim your kidney cancer due to Camp Lejeune? Because if so,
well, I think he's saying,
or you
can he claim sleep apnea, fatty liver, and prostate cancer secondary to kidney cancer? You can, a doctor will have to make that link.
Right.
Yeah, a doctor will have to make that link. And then, if you had kidney cancer, then the question becomes, did it metastasize to the prostate? Right. But that's going to be in your progress notes. So if you file a claim, a rater's not going to, raters are not medical professionals. They can't make that medical opinion. But if you got that proof when you go to CMP exam, then that doctor can say, based on the evidence, yay, nay, or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Okay? Now remember, a medical professional is that they are the professionals in their career field. If that doctor says you have X and it's the direct result of this, and they can prove it, then a rater would have to go off the black and white information. It shouldn't be any feelings involved. So,
Yep.
keep that in mind.
Right. Okay. Jane, healthcare is open to all rated, those with presumptives while waiting for ratings or meet the income limits, important, no more asset limits. Now, keep in mind, what Jane is talking about is on the VHA side. I did a video explaining the different divisions within the VA. It's three. You got cemetery, VBA, and VHA. What Jane is explaining is the healthcare side. Majority of my videos, 99.9% of it is VBA, not VHA. But it's still good to know this information even before you go and you sign up. Jane, give me a call. I need to get you on here. Maybe you could join us for a Q&A. I know you got a strong background in this. Love to have your input and your questions as to, I would like to ask you is, what are some of the mistakes that you've seen veterans do? So Jane, reach out to me. Maybe we can collab, get you on here for a Q&A if you don't mind. But thank you for joining in for LinkedIn
That'd be good.
and the support. Yeah, because a lot of people hear me. DJ comes on every once in a while, but it's good to hear from someone else that has knowledge of this, so they're not just hearing it from me, they're hearing from somebody else as well. And sometimes we all look at things differently. The 38 CFR. Let's help get these likes up, support the channel. Definitely appreciate that. We got a Facebook. Dwayne, my husband's records were destroyed, and the records we found are in a closed file. We just have a mess. Closed file. You heard of that before, DJ? Closed file?
Not for medical purposes. I mean, they normally, let's say if it was a top secret mission, maybe certain things would be redacted, but for medical purposes, yeah, they should release, whether a person is eligible or not.
Right. So I'm assuming it was destroyed in that fire. And I think it was during the time period veterans that served like 70, 75. They had their fire. RMC. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But if you found the records, at least ask for unredacted, information.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Hey there, Scrap Guy, formerly known as Gun Guy. Thanks for the support. Here we go. DJ B. Foster. OIF vet here, recently diagnosed with chronic fatigue syndrome. If I file for chronic fatigue as a presumptive, is it an automatic grant now, or do I need to get additional evidence, nexus, etc.? I could say this: nothing is automatic with the VA. Nothing is automatic. But again,
chronic fatigue syndrome
is on the list.
It's on the list.
Yeah, it's on the list. And you shouldn't. And you don't need a nexus if it's presumptive. Again, the diagnosis, do you meet the criteria? And then the rater is looking at what are the residuals from that. Okay. So what do we got? Just checking these thumbs ups. See what we got. Somebody.
So remember the criteria. You got to have that criteria, especially the location and the time frame. So
yeah. Mm-hmm. Disgruntled football fanatic must be a Dallas Cowboys fan, all right? Because they're not going to the Super Bowl this year. Smash that thumbs up. And get those likes up. Definitely appreciate it. Jane, thanks again. Great show. We got to get you on there, Jane. Reach out to me. The number's down below. See what we can do to get you on. Definitely appreciate the feedback. Just going through some of these. Is IBS connected to the Pact Act? I've seen veterans get IBS before the Pact Act as a Gulf War undiagnosed illness under that presumptive. So I would say yes. I don't think, so it's always been on the list. And, during my monthly roundtable last year, I think one of them last year, I was teaching veterans how to search the M21 manual. Now, M21 is not law, but what I like about it, it's easy to search and it'll give you additional information pertaining to things that you're searching, like 38 CFR, certain court cases, and that reduces your search time. And I learned that because, DJ, we used to have to take those tests at the VA, and it was an all-day test, and they give you 300 questions, and it was time. You didn't have a lot of time. You had to know where to go and find that information.
Oh, yeah.
They didn't have a lot of questions where it's like, oh, is diabetes on the Agent Orange presumptive list? Well, as a seasoned rater, you know it was, but when they asked that question, what month, date, and year did they put it on there? Then you had to go find it because all those dates I couldn't remember. Okay. Mr. Williams from Florida. What part of Florida are you from, Mr. Williams? 20 years Navy vet, trying to get connected for myalgia due to anthrax vaccine and Gulf War vet, applying for Gulf War syndrome for my conditions. So again, if you claim that due to as a Gulf War undiagnosed illness, like DJ said earlier, got to go out for a CMP exam. Those are the medical professionals, and they will have to make that, look at the evidence and then make that determination. EOE, hey, welcome back. Thank you for the support. Hello, everyone. KMD. If a veteran has 100% PNT, can he place a claim under the Pact Act? I got a quick question for you, DJ. Like ESPN, I'm gonna put you on the hot seat. Okay? If a veteran is 100%, because people heard me talk about this, PNT, right? And let's just say they come in for a new claim for tinnitus. They never claimed it before, but they're 100% PNT. Are you going to go back and look at everything?
No, not unless something specific stands out. I'll breeze through. Well, what I would have done, I would have breezed through the previous rating decisions and check those out, and current symptoms. Go through your medical history, like in the VA hospital records. We call it Capri. Go through those records to see if anything jumps out. But no.
Yeah. A lot of people, I think there's a huge misconception out there in YouTube land. If you're 100% PNT and you file a new claim, they're going to go back and look at every single thing. Raters don't have time for that. Now, if you, like DJ says, something sticks out, but if you file a new claim for tinnitus and you service connected for left knee, what reason I'm gonna go back and look at their left knee? I'm gonna request the exam and keep it moving. I'm pretty sure some raters may do that, but you still got that quota.
And remember, if you're 100% and PNT, they say, okay, you're at the top of the totem pole because you have everything. Not necessarily true. And one thing that I like to point out is, God forbid you expire due to one of your service-connected conditions. Then there's benefits that your loved ones can access.
Right. What if you were in DS? He's Navy, so I don't know what that means, DS. And have kinds of documentation on being exposed and sick with respiratory. So if you're saying you're trying to claim that due to Gulf War, again, do you have a current diagnosis? Were you at one of those locations? But let us know what DS is. I don't want to presume what that means. Okay. There you go. When you appeal a rating, can it be lowered? That's a good question. I think it can. Anything is possible, but it's highly unlikely because this is why. DJ, correct me if
we found errors all the time. So that's one reason. There was an error that gave you 60% instead of 30% you were due.
Right. Right.
So
right. And one thing to keep in mind: VA employees are human. They make mistakes. This process is not perfect. I shared one time I was doing a rating and I had to go back and look at the previous rating, and I'm like, man, this rate is idiot. What were they thinking when they were rating this claim? They shouldn't even be rating. I look at the code sheet, DJ, guess who it was? It was me. So you make mistakes, okay? They make mistakes, but you, the veteran, can you identify those mistakes? That's the key. Okay, can you identify it?
But when you appeal a rating, then if you're educated, you're going in with complete confidence that it's not going to be lowered. Otherwise, you wouldn't even appeal it. So
right.
That's one big thing. That's why we're pushing education, because these being educated will answer a lot of these questions.
Right, and you also keep in mind when they changed the appeal process, when they went from appeals to high level review, you used to submit evidence, and you still can, but it's not going to be considered. They're looking at everything that was in that claims file at the time the claim was adjudicated.
That's
so
right.
A lot of veterans, they go to high level review. I'm gonna do a high level review. Do you got a copy of your claims folder? No. Your chances of winning that just went way down because there's no transparency there. How do you know what's in there? Jane says, please mention ALS and 7-year multiple sclerosis. So what Jane is talking about, another presumptive is 1 year, 3 years, 7-year presumptives. There's a list that 1 year, 3 year, 7 year from date of discharge. If you go to those lists and you have one of those diagnoses that's on the 1 year, 3 year, I'm assuming, man, what's on the 3 year? ALS is on 7 year. I can't remember what's on the 3 year. I want to say 3 years ALS and maybe 7 years multiple sclerosis. If you have that diagnosis within 3 or 7 years of discharge, you can get service connected under presumptives. Okay, here's one. Stephen, what happens if you get granted all of that, then can't see info anymore? Not understanding that question. Can't see info anymore. Stephen, please elaborate on that so we can get a better understanding of what you're asking. Okay, Greg. 2 of my claims were just deferred, which had nothing to do with the Pact Act, left foot and hip condition. The reason for the deferral noted was awaiting implementation of Pact Act legislation.
Well, 2 of them were deferred. Was any of the other conditions related to the Pact Act? Because maybe, I don't know, they found something where you might have been eligible for.
Hold on, DJ. He got another follow-up question here. Neither condition has anything to do with the Pact Act. I'm confused. I know a few other veterans who receive the same notification on claims that don't fall on Pact Act.
Could be error too.
Yep.
People
Again,
make error.
like I said, VA employees are not perfect. And DJ, I'm gonna ask you this question. When you was rated, did you ever hear the cloud sending the claim to the cloud? You didn't want to work it. You didn't want to work it.
I heard about people doing that.
Sending it to the cloud.
Yeah. They didn't want to. It's really time-based performance as well. So a lot of this is time-based performance and how well you can get that result in as little amount of time and least amount of errors. So we as the veteran, we don't want a error. We don't want not one error. So people do make mistakes, especially when something is new and is just rolling out and it's great significance. Someone may go through the training, understand it, but then be confused on a piece, and it can result in things like that. Oh, well, let me hold off because he had the time frame, but he didn't have the conditions. They may be mixing up some criteria. He fit the time frame, so let me defer it.
And keep in mind, the training that DJ's talking about, you will get this training on Monday. You getting claims on that Tuesday or that Thursday right after that. And it's like, wait a minute. So you're asking questions. You're like, wait a minute. And that takes time because you don't want to make a mistake. You make a mistake, you get hit with that quality error. Man, you just ruined my whole month with that right there. For the rest of the month, I'm on pins and needles, so just to keep that in mind, and we stress, you know, education. And I talk about in some of my previous videos where I think I did have a VSO, but I explained why I had a VSO. I had a VSO because I couldn't see my own claim. I could go to VSO office and I walk the VSO through VMSR and show him where to look so he could show me the information. But everybody gets, different training. They interpret it. They train a little bit different, as though like the 38 CFR and the M21. So that's why we stress education, because even after that, I filed my own claim. I was like, I'm not having anybody to do anything. I'm filing it, and that's it. I don't want to hear no ifs, ands, buts about it, because that way I had control. Something went wrong. It was, something I did and not somebody else. Warren, hello. Thank you for everything you do. I have a quick question. I've been diagnosed with sarcoidosis, which is now covered under, let's see, the Pact Act. Is exposure to burn barrels covered under Pact Act? Exposure to burn barrels is not a condition. What is the condition? That, you claim sarcoidosis, being exposed to burn pits while serving in Southwest Asia.
Right. Remember the criteria: diagnosis, location, time frame, all that matters. So if you had a diagnosis and it fits and you were there during that time period, you can resubmit.
Yeah.
And to answer that one guy's earlier, one person, they could defer it for Pact Act. I read something earlier that if they see that a person was affected and they have a current claim, some people are deferring it for that reason, because you don't have to do anything. Still waiting on clarity for that. I should get some of that tomorrow.
Okay. All right. Will the VA automatically look at old denials that would now be covered under the Pact Act? Back when I was on that Agent Orange, was you at the VA in 2010, DJ?
No.
Okay. So I was on the Agent Orange team back in 2010 when they added systemic heart disease, was it B-cell leukemia? What was the other one? They added to the list. And actually, one thing that the VA did, and this took a lot of time, they went back and was looking at previous claims for veterans that had previously claimed these conditions. Now, if they're going to do this with the Pact Act, I haven't heard any feedback on that. But again, if it's something that you're claiming that's on that list for Pact Act, I wouldn't wait on them to go look. I would be looking it up myself.
Yeah, and the Pact Act, it said, if denied your disability claim in the past and VA now considers your condition presumptive, you can submit a supplemental claim. So that should help you out.
Yeah. Let's see. Okay, I'm just trying to go through some of these questions real quick. So we're going to do about another 5 minutes, people. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Thanks, Mr. Security. Great information you provide the veterans. Don. Okay, there you go. Congrats, Don. I want to get to some questions that I haven't, from some people that I haven't gotten to. Okay. I am 90%, 10% permanent. I am 90%, 10% permanent total, and TDIU. So I still file for other issues I am having, even though I'm already effectively 100%. That would be up to you. You would have to make that decision. It's your claim. The only thing I would say is, get educated. Know what you've already done. Know what you want to do. But at the end of the day, that would have to be your decision. You got any feedback?
No, that is on point. You have to understand the significance of your disability. So if you have the evidence to support your claim, then you can make a informed decision. If you're shaky about it, then you need to do some more research, see if you meet the criteria.
Right. Okay, Raymond, I complained about hearing loss problems during my final physical 12 years ago. I failed a couple of uh, audiograms back in 2010 while on active duty. Is it too late to submit a claim now? Never too late. Never too late.
Yeah, it sounds like you got some good evidence too. If you
Yeah, yeah,
remember, the claim process is based on your current disability. You have to have a current disability diagnosis, disease, event that happened in surgery that affects what you currently have going on. Then you got to prove it happened in service. And then that nexus links the two. So
right.
it looks like you have some good evidence.
Yep.
But do you currently have hearing issues?
Right. And does it rise to the level
Right.
of VA, the chart for the VA? Because, I took one of my audiograms to a doctor, ENT, and he looked at it, he said, yeah, you got hearing loss, but it did rise to the level of VA standards for hearing loss.
Right.
Okay. Their standards, I think, are a little bit higher. All right. Brian Green, if you had sleep apnea secondary to hypertension denied, can you go HLR, new info, DBQ, IMO for sleep apnea secondary PTSD? Again, when you do a high level review, they're looking at, was a mistake made with the evidence in the folder at the time that that claim was adjudicated. Now, you can submit new evidence, but they tell you it will not be considered. Now, if you do the high level review and the decision review officer asks you for evidence, then that's different. Anything you want to add on that, DJ?
No, that's perfect. People have to understand that higher level review, you're saying that, hey, you made a mistake on this rating and I'm challenging it. Now, someone higher than the rater will go over that, look through all the evidence that the rater used to make that decision, and find out if there was any error in that. They're not worrying about what information you didn't add to that or what information you have currently, unless they ask you. And droves have more leniency.
Yep.
And yeah, more leniency.
Yep. Keith, hey, thanks for the support. Definitely appreciate it. Thanks for the donation and support to the channel. We're going to go ahead and take a couple more questions here. I've been waiting for 145 days for Pact Act action. They don't have a time limit on it.
Yeah. Just rolling out now.
Yep. First timer supporting. Thank you, Juan, for the support. 10 years out on a with no complaints. While I was in, I usually just dealt with the problems myself. Let's see. Recently started my claims process, so I have an uphill battle ahead of me with 6 years on a carrier and 3 deployments. Man, I don't know how they do it on those ships, man.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Yeah, my cousin was on one and I went to visit. Whoa,
man,
that's special. And then he went on a sub. So,
but
yeah, I wouldn't call it an uphill battle. Just check out some of the videos, get educated, and then you will understand how to put your claim together. Because you either have it or you don't. Sometimes people get caught up in making stuff up, or elaborating or adding a little extra to it. It's really simple, and the VA makes it really simple if you understand the process.
Yeah. So and sometimes veterans say, "Oh, my buddy did it this way." My buddy.
Right.
That don't mean if you do it the same way, it don't mean it's you're gonna get it. Okay. Matthew, I have one question. What the heck are residuals? I have lymphoma cancer. Okay. Let's see. I'm thinking of how to explain this. Let's say, prostate cancer. So you said you had lymphoma cancer, prostate cancer. So when you going to the rating schedule, it'll tell you it's a prostate cancer, grant the veteran 100% as long as the cancer is active and they're doing some type of treatment. Once the cancer is in remission, you have to rate off residuals. So with some residuals for prostate cancer, a lot of veterans have to urinate more every hour on the hour or something like that. Urinary frequency, urinary tract infections, if they have to wear absorbent materials, pads, depends, those are residuals. So they have to rate off the residuals, and then depending on if they, I think, urinary frequency,
infertility,
yeah, right. So that's what those things. Yeah. The messenger, you said no response. We're trying to get through all the questions. A lot of people answer multiple questions. So we're trying to get, I'm skipping over some of them. I want to make sure I get at least one question for everybody. So I think we did answer a couple of the questions, if I'm not mistaken. All right, go by Fred. I think Mizzou is about to beat up University of Arkansas tonight. So thank you for that donation. I definitely appreciate it. Go Mizzou. All right, I called and used the White House line twice. Nothing ever came of it. Did you call back? They give you a reference number. And the video that I did, I explained in that video exactly how I did that complaint.
Right.
Okay. I didn't give them my email address, and I requested a call back from a supervisor. If you see a weird number like V and it's like 10 digits, you might want to pick up. It could be the VA calling.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. And they don't always leave a message. And if they do, guess what number they're going to give you to call back? 800-827-1000. That person at the call center is not going to have no clue why that person called you in the first place. But I do know for a fact the VA White House hotline gives you a reference number. You can call back, give that reference number, and don't be surprised if the VA updated and say, hey, we called, but they didn't pick up and we left a message.
Right.
No. All right. Thanks for that donation. Definitely appreciate it. All right, we're going to take one more here, DJ, and we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Let's see. All right. Brandon, how long can you be 100% service connected before you are considered permanent and total? You can get that in the same rating decision.
Right.
Yeah.
No real criteria. And if you, let's say you've been 100% for 4 or 5 months and you feel your condition meets permanent and total, then you can ask to be considered for permanent and total.
Yep. Okay. So, all right. Well, that's it for this evening. Mario, hey, thanks, Mario. I see you out there on LinkedIn sometimes. Definitely thank you for chiming in and showing the support tonight. So if anyone, and I was going to say this when we first started, if you have a copy of, let me bag up. I'm going to put the website in the comment box. I should have been doing that throughout the night. I do apologize. But if you are a veteran and you need a DBQ and or nexus statement, okay, IMO, whatever you want to call it, and you have a copy of your claims file, like this DJ showed on that CD, schedule a free consultation with me and we can explain your options, okay? But you need that CD. Anytime a private physician is completing that DBQ, they have to check that box that they reviewed your VA e-folder, claims folder, and that having that information on the CD, you have a copy of your VA claims e-folder, okay? So if you're in need of a DBQ nexus statement and you have that, schedule a consultation and we can explain your options. We get a lot of people they're saying thank you. Let's see. Oh, I'm sorry. Well, since I popped it up, I got to take that question. My Pact Act claim was approved in 3 weeks. Oh, wow.
Whoa.
Depends on what regional office you are in and backlog things for the advice and attention. There it is.
Yep.
Now, don't think everybody's claim is going to be 3 weeks, but Gabe, they definitely thanks for sharing that.
Hey, congrats, Gabe.
Yeah. So, welcome. Appreciate it. Thank you for the support. Thanks, guys. Wonderful to see you helping veterans here. Not a problem. And check this out, DJ. He must have been thinking what I was thinking. Look at this. Look at this. I tell you, there's always a fret. There's always a fret. There's always a fret, brother. Want to throw you under the bus, but he know Mizzou they about to take care of business. Okay. So again, thanks for all the support to the channel. Everybody, thank DJ for coming back. It's been almost a year since he's been on here with me, but hopefully we could do more of these.
We got some more coming. We got some more.
Oh yeah.
We got some more good stuff coming.
Most definitely, because I want to dig into that. What are some of the things you review? What are some things you would want to look for when you adjudicated a claim? Because people, like I say, Raiders want to see this and Raiders want to see it. I'm like, no, it's something I didn't want to see, but right. Every Raider is different. There's probably, how many Raiders you think there's out there, DJ? Over 1,000?
Gotta
maybe?
Be.
Yeah.
Gotta be.
Yep. So keep in mind, everyone, VA employees are human. They make mistakes, but you, the veteran, can you identify those mistakes? That's what's important. And that's what we do, is educate the veteran on the VA claims process. Okay. Go out there. You can Google CAMD89. We have over 100 5-star reviews. Every morning I get up, I try to answer or respond to every YouTube comment. You can see, I'm responding to it. If you reply and ask another question, I don't answer those. You could book us for 1 hour for a Q&A session if you like. I know DJ has done a few of those here recently. You could do it by Zoom. You could, just be private between you and myself, or you and DJ, and we could go a little bit in depth and a little bit more questions. So definitely appreciate the support to the channel, spending time with us this evening. DJ, I'll go ahead and give you the last words.
Yes, for more information on the Pact Act, va.gov/PACT, PACT. That's the VA website. They always have YouTube information, town hall, excellent information for you. And education is the key. When you understand the objective, that's not the only part of the equation. You want to have something service connected, but what's the criteria that falls before that? Some people understand it, some people don't. And there's a lot of free information on our YouTube channel. Please go through that. If you have any questions, need any help, free consultation. You can't beat that. Consultation, right. Ask questions, and then the Q&A session, like Dwayne said. If you're going to do it yourself, if you had a medical professional provide you a DBQ because you want to submit your own exam and you want some extra set of eyes put on it, we can look at it. We can write it up, let you know if there's any errors in that exam as well. So you, as the veteran, you're special. You're special. Everybody can't do what you do, and not everyone has done what you've done. And so we like to say thank you. We're veterans as well, and we appreciate your service. And if you need any help, need any advice, that's what we're here for.
Right. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. So to answer your question, Ramon, yes, you can. Check out a video that I did. It's on my YouTube channel, Routine Future Exams, RFEs. Okay. All right. So thanks again, everyone. Happy New Year. I can't remember if I said that at the beginning, but definitely Happy New Year. Sorry about the audio issues. I've been in several Zooms today, so I've been switching from headsets to microphones. But really good information. Thank you, DJ, for doing that presentation. Take care.